G'day and welcome back to Build Some, and in today's video what I want to show you is how to develop the true shape of a mould that's going to intersect with a sloping ceiling. So you can see here, obviously I've got a room, the sloping ceiling, and we're going to have some sort of cornice that goes around here. And as I'll show you, in most cases the mould that goes along this wall and the mould that goes along this wall, we can't use a standard mould. We actually have to change the profile slightly. So I'm going to shrink this down so it makes a bit more sense. And here we go. This is the actual slope of the room, down at a very small scale. And this is our mould that's going to run up the wall. And you can see that if I spin this around, if we had a 90-degree wall, that would fit on our wall. There's no problem with that. So that's alright for that mould. That we can use our standard mould for there. I'll just switch this around and get the end section. So that's our mould that's going to run up the length of the slope. However, you can see if we slide that down into the corner, the mould that's going to run along this wall is going to end up with a gap here. And the mould that runs along the top side is going to have a gap behind it. Now, realistically, that's not too big an issue because there's no obvious gap, and we could just plane or cut the back off this mould to get it to fit tight against the wall. However, it's still not the true shape that we need, because to have the true shape, then all the vertical faces of this mould need to be plumb or in line with the wall, not 90 degrees to the ceiling. So even though you could bodgy it up, it's still not a true representation of the mould. So I'll show you how we actually get the true shape. So we go back to our original end section, and we're going to identify all the key changes of direction, etc. in that mould. So I've just taken a line parallel to the slope of the ceiling and identified those. Now this can be done one-to-one on a piece of paper. I guess you could do it in CAD or SketchUp like I have. Whichever way you want to do it. So I've identified all the pieces that way, all the main points, all the changes of direction, that sort of stuff. And then I'm going to do the same at 90 degrees to that. So I've identified the back of the mould here. I've identified the change, that step there, that step there, that step there, that step there, and the end of the mould there. So now I know how far apart they are. What I can do, I can take this little projection and replicate it down at the end of the wall. So I take this part, this side, and line it up with the end of the wall, or this line here, and I keep the same spaces, but this is level, or at 90 degrees to our wall. Alright, so that'll give us the right measurements. So the distance between here and here is the same as here and here, and there exactly the same, and we just replicate that there, and we can do the same as that at the other end as well. Alright, once we've done that, we can then transfer those lines down so they're parallel to our wall, and we can then replicate the shape. So that face there is plumb, that face there is in line, same slope as the ceiling, and you can see that gives us the true shape of our mould on the low side. And all we do on the top side is the same thing. Transfer our projection there, project all the lines down, and we then get the shape of our mould in the top corner. So once we have the shapes, we can then take that profile to a joinery shop, or if you had your own moulding machine, you could send away and get a set of knives made up to those shapes, and then you could get the mould run to actually go in and fit in there. So we have a look at it in place. There's our moulds in place. So you can see here, here's our true shape. Now that fits in nicely, nice intersection in the corner. Go up the slope. Okay, so there you go. That's how we correctly develop the true shape of a raking mould.